I have my dream job. But even dream jobs have not so dreamy parts. That's where ServiceNow's AI specialists come in. They don't just tell you what to do about your busy work, they actually do it. That way your team can focus on what matters. To learn how to put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com. Hey everyone, welcome to Serve, brought to you by ServiceNow. Subscribe, boop, boop, boop. Just do it. Just let us in.
Come on.
Just let us into your life.
Come on.
Just let us in.
Yeah.
Guys, cool show today. I'm excited. Mirra Andreeva is on. I have never met her, and it's always a weird thing for me. Like some of these interviews, I would say most of the interviews, I know the person, and so it's easier. I really, really am a fan of hers. Obviously, I want to talk about Roland Garros. I want to talk about the quick turnaround time. Has it kind of fully melted into reality that she is a Roland Garros champion? How does one deal with that at such a young age? But she's very cool. She'll be on the other side. Mike, you had a couple of news bits off the top?
Yeah, over the weekend, we had Jannik Sinner confirm that he was withdrawing from the Canadian Open along with Novak Djokovic. This will be the second year in a row that both Sinner, Novak, and Alcaraz have not played in the Canadian Open. I think it's the seventh year in a row that Novak has not. And as a reminder, Sinner was kind of in every fan's dreams, was going for this sweep of all the Masters 1000s. That's now obviously not going to be possible with him withdrawing from Canada. But this is, we're 2 years into this experiment of the expanded 1000s format of the extra players, the extra days. And ultimately right now you have the Canadian Open overlaps with the Cincinnati Open. He's clearly choosing to play the Cincinnati Open, something closer to the US Open. But I don't know, when you read all this, it seems like it's a byproduct of this expansion and somebody's going to have to pay the price, and the players are saying, not us.
Yes. Yep. I mean, you say experiment, and that makes it seem like if it doesn't work, there's an off-ramp. I hope that's the case. But yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of real estate, right? This is the year. I think they've condensed it into 3 weeks, or at least they were talking about it. I'm not sure if it actually hits home this year or not. But yeah, I mean, are you going to add 2 weeks to your calendar before New York? The answer for the top players who have done well on clay and on the grass has largely been no, with early feedback, especially the kind of longer format on the men's side. You're not going to get Novak to come over for a month before he plays New York, or 5 weeks before he plays New York at this point in his career. If the winner of Wimbledon wants some time off, guess when that's going to happen? It's going to happen during Canada, and that's when they're going to start ramping up their training and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I saw Jannik after he won Wimbledon, and I said, "What's next?" And he goes, "Some rest." Yeah. And so, in my mind, that, I mean, you don't know, you don't kind of project your opinion on what someone's saying, and I can't come on here and say that, he says that, therefore I think Canada's out. But in my own mind, I'm going, okay, that means Canada's out. It's tough. It's kind of that one of those weird things where it's kind of be careful what you wish for. Is Jannik next year? This is another one that's interesting. Like, he pulls out of this, is next year, with going to Roland Garros and with kind of his tennis being almost perfect going in, but his body giving out, does he skip some of the clay court stuff next year to get his body right, to kind of prioritize fitness at Roland Garros? It's a lot easier to make the decision to let something go when it's a 2-week commitment, as opposed to coming over and saying, I'm going to get tons of matches in 2 weeks and then have a week off before the US Open. I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they
stinks.
They moved the Canadian Open a week further away from Wimbledon, so it was 2 weeks last year. Now it's 3 weeks, hoping that it would give them that time. But in reality, when you look at the schedule, right, the Canadian Open, if you make the finals of the Canadian Open, which Jannik Sinner has every chance of doing so,
more often than not, he does. More often than
not, that would have been the same day as round one starting in Cincinnati. Meaning you're potentially winning the Canadian Open, you're getting a bye, and then 2 days later you're playing in Cincinnati. It's just like, if the slams are the goal right now at this point, are you going to pack that much tennis in before heading to New
I actually
York?
don't. I mean, I've done that exact scenario multiple times, either winning and then winning both, or like playing a final and then going over. It's the turnaround time stinks. The thing where it's just the thing that I actually think is a bigger factor is, do I go play this and do I rush my training timeline after Wimbledon? If they give me another week, does that just mean I'm going to train another week? Right? If you're Jannik Sinner, do you think you need a ton of matches going into slams now? Like, he's kind of entering that, like, Novak, when Fed used to not play a ton and then show up. A lot of guys do. Alcaraz has done it in Australia and won. Chuckers like me, like I wanted matches. I craved matches. I would never really just go into a slam without having played something. But I don't think he thinks he needs 2 or 3 tournaments of matches to go into a slam now, right? Like a weird result is him not making the finals of something. So I don't know, like these 2-week events, I know they're, I hope, they'd come out and say, like, this is baked in till X amount of time. I'm assuming contracts are in place. I don't think it's moving anytime soon. In a moment of honesty, I'd be curious to hear past financials, which I assume have to be beneficial to make a move like this. I don't buy that we're going to give you 4 days off during a tournament and therefore you're going to be not injured throughout the year. That's been proven to be wrong, not correct. So outside of financials, in a moment of honesty, I would wonder if they would say this was a mistake. I assume they know it, but I don't know. It's unfortunate, and Canada is gonna keep paying the price for it, right? They're not gonna flip it with Cincinnati.
No,
so
yeah, Cincinnati's not going anywhere.
No, they're not gonna flip the weeks at all. So it's unfortunate, but not surprising at all that Sinner's not playing, that Novak's not playing, and obviously we hope Carlos that he's not. It's not the same scenario with Carlos this year that it is with Novak and Sinner, obviously with the wrist injury, but we hope he's back sooner than later. Opportunity knocking up there for some points. Thanks for listening to Served. We will be right back. Mike, you must be excited. It's almost time for the tour to stop by your hometown of Cincinnati.
Ooh, I'm pumped. I've actually been meaning to ask you, is it cool if I take off some time and go to the tournament myself?
Funny you should say that. I've actually been meaning to ask you if we should do our annual Serve retreat in your old stopping grounds those weeks. Can you host us all?
Listen, I'm a hospitable guy, but
we'll talk about this later. But fortunately, like our London trip, we'll have plenty of options for places to stay from the fans out there that list their homes on Airbnb.
Well, in that case, I'm in. That place really had everything that we needed to feel at home across the pond, staying right in the heart of the Wimbledon Village. We stumbled upon the best local bars, restaurants, not only for some killer fish and chips, but to meet the coolest people who traveled from all over the world to come to the tournament.
Exactly. And now thousands of fans are going to be on this side of the pond all summer to catch the hard court swings. So you at home can be part of the action by listing your space on Airbnb. And guess what? You'll even bring in some extra money while you're at it. You can put it towards your next big trip. Especially if you're already planning on being away this summer, don't let your home just sit empty. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. All right, back to the show. What else, Mike?
So we had Alex Eala and Venus Williams scheduled to play doubles together at the DC Open, but over the weekend, Eala had to kind of bow out. She said that she hadn't really played since Wimbledon. She had her leg wrapped late in her run in Wimbledon, so maybe she was in recovery on some things, but she hadn't really played much. And they had previously played together in Bad Homburg last month, made the quarterfinals. Luckily, Venus was able to pivot and added Schneider, who she's going to play with. So Venus is still going to play wild card on doubles and in singles in DC, which I think will be really interesting. But I'm also curious to see how Eala does, because if it's serious enough for her to bow out from playing with a legend like Venus, it's just getting her body right.
Yeah, Venus had a rough go with doubles. I guess she's trying to kind of get a little momentum. We don't know if this is she's keeps it pretty close to the vest as far as like what the timelines look like, but is this the last summer? I don't think there's ever enough conversation around her, but like if she's done at the US Open, I mean, she is an absolute icon of this game. You look at it's just been a little bit hit or miss with Baptiste at Roland Garros, with Serena at Wimbledon, and now Eala. Now Schneider is a hell of a, you don't even want to call her a replacement because she's one of the best doubles players in the world. That's great. If I was a young player, I would be submitting my resume to play with Venus as long as she's out there. I just think that would be so cool. So I'm happy Eala already got to do it. But like, irrespective of if it's Venus or someone else, you still have to be responsible to your body. And the goal of this summer is to make runs at these tournaments. And I don't think Eala's at the point where she's prioritizing doubles over singles. So it makes sense. We got mixed doubles stuff, Mike, right?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of doubles.
Yeah, we have the old
mixed doubles.
U.S. Open, the old new mixed doubles.
USTA announced the field at the U.S. Open mixed doubles today, Monday. So the event runs, reminder, from August 24th to 26th. I can give you more details on that. But Andy, why don't you rip through that list? There's some bold-faced names, as people like to say.
This is great. The hardest thing in my life is having this in our possession before they've actually released it and not telling anyone. But I appreciate their... I didn't tell anyone, no. It's like I can't even open the email before we're going to come on air because I know I'll mess it up somehow. Sabalenka Djokovic headliner. How do we like that?
That's ridiculous.
That's so cool. Andreeva, who we're going to talk to in a second. I probably should have asked her, or should ask her. We flipped it. We felt the interview and now we're doing the top. But anyways,
probably should have.
Andreeva and Rublev.
It's a good one.
Basically, like, how funny would it be? Can we just walk this, my dream scenario? Do you know what I'm going to say about Andreeva and Rublev? What if they coordinate a racket smashing after, like, they lose the first? What would you do? What would you do if they lost the first point of their first match and just broke rackets right away?
I think it'd be even better if they just never lost their tempers once.
No,
it'd be shocking.
No, the internet disagrees with you. Swiatek and Casper Ruud, Bencic, Kaboli, Schneider, Medvedev, Anisimova, Lerner, Tien get in the mix. Eala and FAA, Leylah Fernandez and Big Foe, Taylor Townsend, Alex Zverev, Gabriela Ruse, Nuno Borges, Pagula, Draper, Osaka, Nishikori. You think that's going to do a rating in Japan? You think that's going to do anything? That is very cool. Defending champs who have to give them props. A lot of shit being talked last year, a lot by yours truly, and they said, shut up, we're going to win this thing. They did. Arani and Vavasori back. Props. Happy to see them back in. Siniakova and Patton. And Peyton Stearns and Preston Stearns. Pretty cool.
Family duo.
Yeah, like I guess Preston Stearns plays at Ohio State.
Yep.
Getting the old look from Ohio State straight into Arthur Ashe Stadium potentially.
I think that's pretty. I mean, that's quite the jump.
It's pretty good though. I'm not really good at counting. Does this equal the right amount of teams, or am I going to speculate something here?
So they're doing something differently this year. Let me scroll down to the schedule portion. There's 8 teams competing for 2 entries in a qualifying setup on Monday the 24th. That'll be in the grandstand. It starts at 11 a.m., free for any fans to attend. And then those last 2 teams then will be in the official first round, which starts on Tuesday, Louis Armstrong Stadium, 10 a.m., Arthur Ashe Stadium, 11 a.m. The Arthur Ashe ones will be ticketed. All the other ones are free to attend. And so the first and quarterfinals will be on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, the 26th, semifinals and finals. And inside of this, it does say this is the initial entry list. So
initial
entry list, which, you know.
So we're just going to wait on Serena and Carlos?
I mean.
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
It is the initial
It is the initial. So I'm curious though. So there's 8 teams for 2 spots. Do we know anything about those teams and how they're selected yet?
No, I don't. Actually, that'd be pretty.
I'm interested. I'm interested in that. I'm assuming there's going to be some mixed teams, like some specialist doubles teams in there, and then that's actually a really fun way to get some cool pairings. My up and coming players, like I love that. I actually think this is. I think that's a great thing. And they found a way to get another day out of it. Way to go! Yeah. Props. Fantastic, but in a fun way. So just to regurgitate what you said. That starts at 11 a.m. on August 24th. The first day's matches, as I understand, will not be on Ash, but they are free on Grandstand?
Correct.
Awesome. So if you are in the New York area and you want to see U.S. Open matches for free, August 24th, Grandstand, you will see high-level mixed doubles. Go there, make a memory. It is awesome. We'll be up there, Monday, Tuesday, something like that, and start the old New York U.S. Open engines, right?
Yeah, we'll let it rip for an entire almost 3 weeks.
It is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It is definitely 3 weeks.
And we'll be doing on Friday. We'll be actually on the grounds helping out with their media day, which we'll announce more on that later. But we're really excited for that.
We are going to be in it. Like we're like a real media thing.
Someday.
Do you guys get credentials this year?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Still waiting.
I hope so.
Bueller.
I don't want to get thrown out.
Yeah.
Bueller. Credentials.
We'll see if we see the inside of the media room this time.
If we do more interviews like what we did with Mirra Andreeva, people start to take us seriously.
That's right. We're going to get to that after the thing. Sean, do you think you're going to have to upload our podcast from the food court at the U.S. Open this year?
I think the food court Wi-Fi was it worked last time.
Yeah. I literally asked Sean, I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm uploading our show. I'm like, oh, okay. And then 7 hours later, I texted him, I was like, what are you doing? He's like, uploading our show from the food court.
The upload speed was a hamster on a wheel.
We're going to do it. Mark my words, we're going to get you guys media credentials this year. But lots of exciting stuff at the U.S. Open during Fan Week. It's great how they've built that out. On the other side, Mirra Andreeva, your 2026 Roland Garros champion. I can't wait. I can't wait to meet her. We'll see you on the other side. Thanks for listening to Served. We will be right back. This episode is brought to you by ServiceNow. Look, I have my dream job. I watch tennis, I think about tennis, I talk about tennis, but even dream jobs have not so dreamy parts. The stuff that gets in the way of the actual work. That's where ServiceNow's AI specialists come in. They don't just tell you what you should do about your busy work, they actually do it, start to finish. Cases closed, requests handled, no extra work for you. That way, you and your team can focus on the work that matters, which for me is explaining at length why tennis players are the best athletes on earth. Sorry, everyone else on earth. To learn how to put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com. All right, back to the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to Served. As promised, your 2026 Roland Garros champion Mirra Andreeva is joining the show. Mirra, are you finally getting a little bit of rest?
Yes, I am getting a little bit of rest. I've actually had some time after Wimbledon. I didn't play tennis for 11 days to be exact. I just, took some time to recharge, spend some time with my family, and now I started practicing again, and soon we're going to leave to Toronto.
And I know the focus with players is kind of always forward thinking, and I'm assuming the space between winning your first Grand Slam at Roland Garros, which was so much fun to watch, and then Wimbledon coming right away, did it feel a little bit rushed? Did you have enough time for it to actually sink in before your focus kind of had to go towards the grass?
Well, honestly, if it would be up to me, I would probably ask for a little bit more time. I think Paris and London, they're so close to each other that I only had 4 days off, and then I had to, start practicing on grass again. Like, I think I would take maybe a week just, to, I don't know, not do anything, not practice, not think about tennis. But it is what it is. That's the schedule. And honestly, I was actually pretty excited to start practicing on grass as well. So, if you ask me, I wouldn't complain about that also.
Yes, I guess that's a good problem to have. I guess in general, I guess where I was going with it is post Wimbledon, you feel like you've kind of had some space to kind of think through Roland Garros. What are your kind of memories now that you're, 2 months removed from, kind of the ultimate goal, I'm assuming?
Well, the only thing I remember is so many emotions that I've experienced throughout the 2 weeks, not just the final match, because I was so nervous playing basically every single match that I was playing there, starting from the round one. But I just remembered that I was playing good. I was, very kind of self-supportive in a way, because that's what I'm working towards. And I think that, those 2 weeks showed me that if I put my mind into the right space, then it's gonna work. And I don't know, I just remember so many emotions of, I don't know, relief, happiness, excitement, euphoria, adrenaline, like so many at once, that I just really wanna try and experience that again.
Are you someone who pays a lot of attention to what else is going on during that tournament? Because it felt like, the third or fourth day, everything just started going crazy on the men's side with Sinner. And then on the women's side, you start seeing Sabalenka go and you see Iga go and you see these names fall. And then all of a sudden, eyes are on you and you're the favorite. Is that something that kind of adds maybe pressure or a different emotional set than usual?
Yes, I would say that added a little bit of pressure on me, because obviously I didn't expect Arena to lose. But I was watching that match as well. I watch a lot of tennis. Even when I'm playing, I watch women, I watch men, everything. So I follow. And obviously I saw what happened with Yannick. I saw what happened with Arena, with Iga, with Rybakina as well. I saw so many top seeds fall. And then after, when Arena lost as well, I'm like, well, this is interesting. And then after, of course, I started to, be a little bit more nervous. I felt like I had a little bit more pressure, but then at the same time, I just tried to talk to Conchita, try to talk to my psychologist, not to think about that, just try to focus on what I've been doing. And I guess it worked, but yes, that added extra pressure on me.
Yeah, it was I was looking back and we were trying to kind of come up with an example where someone who's a first-time Grand Slam finalist is as overwhelming of a favorite as you were. And I was talking with our team. I said, that is not an easy scenario to deal with either. Sometimes it's almost easier when, there's an established name on the other side. But Hwalinska was such a great story during Roland Garros, and you had to be the one to end it, right? You had to go in knowing that this was a real opportunity.
Yeah, for sure, because I saw her play throughout the whole tournament. I actually was following a little bit, because in the first round she beat Qinwen Zhang. Also, she's been a top 10 player, and she had some great results in the beginning of the tournament. So I already knew that, she was playing well. She passed the quali. So obviously I watched a little bit of her game. And then after, I agree that maybe it would be mentally a little bit more easier if I would play against, a top seed, just, to kind of have less expectations. But at the same time, I was telling myself that she's, also not an easy opponent, because she's played so many matches. And that also helped me to try not to, overthink and put extra pressure on myself.
I'm endlessly fascinated because obviously I'm a huge fan of your game. You've been a massive prospect in tennis for a while now. But also it's impossible to turn the channel, whether it's a post-match or post-tournament speech, whether you give an interview, you always have something kind of interesting and different to say. The thank me speeches, is it something you think about, or do you kind of just shoot from the hip when you're in these scenarios?
Well, honestly, as I said, the first time I said it, I won the 60K in Israel. It's been 4 years ago, and I just had a bet with my coach that, we're just laughing on that Snoop Dogg interview when he said that. And I was like, okay, if I win the tournament, I'm saying it. He's like, no, you're not going to do it. You're you're just going to go away. You're not going to say it actually in front of all of those people. And then after, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And then I won, and then I did it. He was embarrassed a little bit, I would say. But then after, I kind of decided that, every time that I'm gonna win, maybe that's what I'm gonna say. And then the first WTA tournament that I won 2 years ago, I decided to say it as well. And then, first few times there were not a lot of people to actually, get it famous and get it online on the internet. And then after, when I won my first 1000 tournament, it started to get viral. And then the more I won, the more I said it. And now it's kind of like a little trademark, I would say.
Did I hear you correctly? Did you say your inspiration for this was Snoop Dogg?
That's right.
Can you explain that for our listeners who don't understand the connection, please? And producer Mike,
Well,
because he has no idea what you're talking about.
Stop.
well, it's very, very simple. We just saw an online video of Snoop Dogg doing a speech. I guess it was an award that he won or something, and he just said, "Last but not least, I want to thank me." And you know that famous song of his plays on the background, and he just started saying, "I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for never taking days off," and all of that stuff. And I just play around with, the words in the end a little bit, what I want to actually thank myself for, not use everything that he said, obviously. And that's it, basically.
I love it because I think paying the respects to the team is great, and we also expect it at this point. So. Listen, I know it's coming at this point, and I still never turn the channel because I think it's awesome, hilarious, and I think it's completely differentiated. So please never stop being you, and never stop thanking yourself for the tennis fans. Anyways, the other thing that I always admire, and you get some criticism for it, and I don't like it, is you're honest, right? So the same with the speeches and the viral, and we all love that, but then we want to really, really have something to criticize. And when you go nuts, whether it's Indian Wells or whether it's different moments, we all kind of clutch our pearls. I can't do it because I'm on record as breaking stuff too much on a tennis court. But how do you kind of value the feedback when you get criticized for, maybe breaking something or saying something that you maybe shouldn't?
Yeah, I would say overall, I'm an emotional person. If I win, I get super excited, very happy. If I have a good mood, I would just dance around, annoy my team, poke everyone around. If I have a bad mood, I'm not talking. I smash the balls, I hit my rackets, I hit myself, like it's basically from point A to point B, like there is such a huge difference. And I feel like, people like to talk, and whenever something is going not very good, they obviously will talk about it, and that's okay because I guess that's what people do. And obviously some moments that I'm not very proud of, as we're playing on bigger stages, obviously it's going to go viral, obviously people are going to talk about it. And I guess I've learned that there is no escape. Basically it's just going to get online one day somehow. As your good moments go online, also your bad moments will go online, and I think a lot of players have that as well. And I don't know, I try to kind of, I don't know, obviously get away from that and fix it, improve, change, work on it, all that stuff. But obviously sometimes it's just not very easy, but I'm still trying to improve and work on it. And if it goes online, it's okay, I guess. There's nothing I can do about it.
It's weird because I always have these conversations with people, and it seems like everyone wants players to be like a Roger or a Sampras or like someone who's kind of always seemingly in control. And I always make the point, if McEnroe would have behaved himself, I don't know that he would have been as good. Like, so how do you kind of, when you're working on this, how much of the conversation is about don't do this versus do it, get it out of your system, and then maybe move into a more positive space?
I would say that for me, focusing on don't do it doesn't really work, because when I think of don't, my brain personally thinks of you have to do it. Like, this is what you have to do right now. So when I really try to kind of let myself, let it out, scream, I don't know, break a racket, smash the ball, and then after it's just kind of, it's just easier to play. Like, the glass gets full of water, and then after it explodes, and then you just feel easier. So for me, I feel like it's important to let it all out, but not to kind of focus on letting it all out for a couple of points or a couple of games. Like, you let it out, but next point, you're there 100%.
Talk about, because I remember watching Conchita play. I remember watching the final when she won Wimbledon, and she hit 8 million passing shots that day against Martinez. It was amazing. But she was someone who you didn't really have to wonder what she was thinking when she was playing. She wasn't one of these players who didn't let you in emotionally. You could see if she was having a good day, if she was having a bad day. how important is it for you to have someone who also kind of had that personality where they had to kind of, I guess, navigate the ebbs and flow of emotion? And is she understanding of your personality?
I honestly didn't know that she was kind of emotional when she was playing. That's good to have a conversation with her about that, because she never told
she wasn't like as bad as like me, but she would slam a ball. She wasn't, you didn't have to wonder where she was at.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that with her when we get to Toronto. That would be an interesting conversation. But honestly, I would say that we talk a lot about her experience, about the way that she used to play, how she handled pressure, how she handled her emotions. Then, she tries to give me advices on maybe try to do this, try to do that. Obviously, they also try to work together with my psychologist to kind of have that, teamwork, to not say different things, but, to focus on one direction and help me with that. But I think that it's important that she's been through that. She understands what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, whether it's a first round when I defend points or whether it's my first final of a Grand Slam. She's been there everywhere, every single tournament, every single stage of her career. So I think that for me, it's just super special that, she's there for me and she understands it. And then she's just there to try and help me with that.
How important was it for you when you were kind of looking to hire a coach, that coach have the pedigree that you were talking about? She was top 10 for a decade, top 5, and won a bunch of Fed Cups and obviously won Wimbledon. And how important was it for you to want someone with that pedigree? And also, does that matter because they don't really have to agree with you all the time because they actually have those accomplishments?
Yeah. Well, when I was talking with my agent, I said that I really wanted a coach that, used to play. So either an ex-player, doesn't have to be like top 10 Grand Slam champion, just, that a coach knows how to play tennis. And also I need a coach that is not going to say, oh my God, Mirra, you're doing so good. You're great. Like, I need a coach that, if I'm not moving my legs, my coach is going to say, you're not moving your legs, like move your ass and just do something. I don't want a coach to just, say all of those supportive and nice words to me, because I can do that myself, no problem. So when, we were talking about this, I was thinking to work with a lot of ex-players, but obviously now all of them, they have families, they have kids, and a lot of them were not available. But then after it was in Indian Wells in 2024. And then after he asked me, do you know Conchita? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, she was an ex-player. Yes, I haven't seen her play. And that's when it all started. And then that's when, we tried to, spend some days together. I think it was 4 days. And then we went to a tournament in France after my wrist injury. And since then, I just felt like, that's the right person. I would say that I felt like she was the right person maybe after 2 days of practice. I felt like, the match, the click, and I was like, okay, we're going on a tournament and then we'll see how it goes. And you see, since then, it's working great.
Thanks for listening to Served. We will be right back. All right, back to the show. I was reading back the transcript from after you won in Roland Garros. And the thing that struck me about it, and I've done the same thing in this interview, is so much of the conversation is about personality. It's about emotions. It's about whatever. Not a single question in your post-match press conference was about your actual game and, forehands and backhands and serves and volleys. So what is the next version of your game? What do you still feel like you have to improve past, kind of the mental side and kind of navigating those things as you grow as a player and a person?
I would really want to improve my volleys. That's why I'm trying to play more doubles. That's why, I'm trying to do that more on the singles matches as well, to force myself to just, go there and just see how it goes. I wouldn't say that I'm super bad, but it's just, the lack of confidence. And sometimes, I let myself, okay, just do this. I just go maybe serve and volley once, and then we'll see how it goes. And sometimes I do this. It's successful. Sometimes it's not. But that's the part of the game that I would really want to try to improve and, finish more points at the net, being a little bit more aggressive, because I would say that my game style is still maybe a little bit more on the defensive side. And then, I can, if I don't know, the opportunity is there, I can try to step in and be a little bit more aggressive. But I would say that, to use more opportunities to just go inside of the court, finish the point at the net, or have a bigger serve, that would be great as well.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I watched last year when you went on your run in the Middle East and you won some big tournaments there. I came on this show and I said, I've watched Mirra probably 5 times over the last 2 weeks. Your serve is great though. Like it's, I mean, I'm sure it has room for improvement, but I came on, it was a year and a half ago, and I came on and I said, why do we not talk about her serve more as a real strength? Is that something that you kind of continually work on? Because, for my money, when it's going well, it's one of the best in the game. Do you feel that way?
Yes, but basically it also depends on the day. Sometimes, I'm there playing a match and I just feel like I'm not going to lose any point in my serve. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's impossible. But sometimes there are days where, for some reason, there's just not enough confidence, and there are double faults and there are shanks and everything. But I'm working towards serving like you. When you serve that ball into the court and it stayed inside of the clay court, I saw that, and I really, I'm trying to work towards that. That's my goal.
I know. You know what's coming, right, Sean?
Oh, no.
So that Mirra, what you just referenced, is fake. Yeah, the ball didn't get stuck. It was a commercial.
Mirra,
I know.
You're not the first, Mirra.
I know. And now
Sean
I had to keep a secret
too.
for a long time. No, listen. So it was a commercial. They cut the top off. And then it wasn't even clay. They just painted orange, and then they put makeup around it. And it was a commercial.
Oh my God, you just ruined everything for me.
I know. That's why I started shaking my head when you said it, because I don't want to be the benefactor of just fake news. It just
dreams crushed.
I'm a little bit disappointed. To be
me
honest,
too.
But okay, it's the truth, I guess. But
I should trust me. If we would have said that in private, I wouldn't have told you. But people watch this, so it would have been like, you're lying to me. One other thing I'm very curious about, because I had an older brother who played tennis, not as good as your older sister. He wasn't on the pro tour, but he was top 2-3 in the world in juniors and played junior Grand Slams and everything else. To me, it helped because when I went to these tournaments, I had actually seen them before. Right. Maybe the age difference isn't enough with the two of you, but has there been a benefit from having an older sister and kind of seeing maybe her progress a couple of years ahead of you sometimes? What are the positives and what are the negatives from having a sibling also on tour?
Well, I would start with, I think we have so many positives, because obviously she's the one that started playing first. She's played so many tournaments that I didn't have to play when I was starting playing. And I think that she basically went and played almost every single tournament in juniors, like Tennis Europe, ITFs, everything. And I basically I didn't play a lot of juniors. I skipped maybe a year or two in juniors, and then there was an opportunity for me to get a wild card. I got a wild card, and then that's how it started. With her, I just feel a little bit guilty in a way that she had to go through it first, because I feel like if maybe I would have gone through it first, things would have been different. But without her, I don't think that I would be here right now, because she's just kind of, how do people say it? Paved the way, or what is the word? Yeah. So, she was basically kind of a light in the tunnel that I was just following, and, didn't have to play all of those unnecessary tournaments and spend all of my unnecessary energy on some certain things. But a negative side to that is when you have to play against each other, it's like the nightmare. It's the worst thing in the world. We've played twice against each other, and those are the 2 worst days of my life.
Really?
So much pressure, so much nerves. Like, she doesn't know about this, but when we first played in Wuhan against each other in 2024, we always share a room together when we were in a tournament. So we were sharing a room together, and for both of us, we were like, well, it's gonna be stupid if we, if the night before the match we'll just go and sleep in different rooms. Because what does it change? We always sleep together. We had breakfast together every day. Okay, now we're opponents, but we're still sisters outside of the court. So we didn't change that. And I just remember that she went to sleep first, but I was so nervous that I was crying a little bit before the match because so many nerves, like so many emotions. I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't bear it inside. And actually, I don't think I've told anyone about this, but you see, exclusive. And yeah, and yeah, we played in the night, so we basically had to spend almost the whole day together, which was not pleasant. Like we were both nervous. We were not talking a lot. Then I had a talk with psychologist the night before. She tried to tell me, you're not playing against Erica, you're playing against Akira. I'm like, well,
that's
yeah,
impossible.
That's still like when you play against your sister, that doesn't really work. I tried to, focus on that, and I talked to Conchita and all of that. It didn't really help. Also, one funny thing, because our parents were there, my mom didn't go on the match. She stayed in the room. And my dad, as we were warming up, the stadium was empty, but then people started to come because I think it was like 10 p.m. And I see, as we were warming up, I see my dad just climbing the tribunes, and he's going like this higher and higher and higher, and like to the top of the tribune right there. And for me, it was just a little bit funny, but yeah, the nerves and everything, the emotions, it was the worst feeling ever.
Does it give you do you feel like you can relate a little bit to I always think to like Venus and Serena and what they had to go through, and they were playing in like Grand Slam finals, like a Wimbledon final. Does it make you kind of view what they had to go through differently, since you've had to kind of do it on maybe a little bit of a smaller scale with your sister?
Yes, honestly, I have no idea how they did that, playing against each other, like your real opponents in the final of a Grand Slam, trying not to think, I don't know what they did. Did they try not to think that it's your sister? Did they, kind of, I don't know, turned off their mind and just played against the ball? I don't know what they did, but for me, that would be like an extra hard task to complete. And I would say that it's pretty much the same. Obviously, it's not a final of a Grand Slam, but I feel like maybe it would be kind of easier to play in a final of a Grand Slam because you would win anyway. Like, I would be so happy if she would win a Grand Slam. Obviously, I would be sad if I would lose in a final of a Grand Slam, but at the same time, I'd be so happy for her. Like, genuinely happy, because she is the person that I care about the most in this world. And if she wins a Grand Slam, beating me in the final, I would be extremely happy for her. But when we meet each other in the beginning of the tournament, it's like a lose-lose situation. You beat your sister, she loses, and then after like all of those emotions just in the beginning of the tournament, like, and you advance to the round of 16, like, okay, well, I don't know. So if it would be up to me, of course, I would choose to play in the final of a Grand Slam one day, if that will be possible. But still, it would be like, I don't know, so many emotions that we'll probably both experience. But I hope the time would come, and we will see how we will both handle that.
Stay in a different room, I'll tell you that much.
Maybe we will. We'll see.
Listen, I'm a huge fan of you in your game. I don't want any outside noise to ever affect the way you are with your personality. In tennis, we need big personalities. We need people driving the sport. We need people to be different. So I hope and implore you to adjust, but never change the way you are. I think it's so much fun watching you. That's just from an old dude who used to play. So I hope you do that. I hope you kind of keep enjoying it, even in the rough moments. Don't get me in too much trouble with Conchita for telling you that she used to get a little pissed on court also. So maybe just we'll see about that. Okay. Perfect. But all the best.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on a first of many Grand Slam titles, hopefully, and good luck this summer. And we'll see you kind of on the road to New York. But congratulations. We're fans
Thank
of you
so
at this
much.
show. And
Thank you
come
for
back,
having me.
come
Thank
back
you.
and see us anytime. Thanks, Mirra.
Thank you.
I think Mirra Andreeva is really cool. I didn't know her from anyone before. Like, obviously I'm a huge fan of her game and what she does, but I don't think I've ever actually met her. I think one of my favorite things about this show, right, is we like to kind of focus on when she throws a racket or when she says something or when she has like a meltdown. And then we mix that with like this mercurial talent and she wins the Grand Slams. She's a person. How cool was she?
She was awesome.
She was great.
And I think so, a quick backstory just to talk about how like grounded she is, like as a 19-year-old slam champion. The reason why she even came on the show is because she like gave our social handle on Instagram a follow, and it like DM'd her like, thank you for the follow, like so excited to have you here. And she wrote back like, love the show, would love to like come on sometime. And we're like, great, that would be great. And we like DM'd her back. And then she's like DMing us back, and it's during the men's final. And then the camera cuts to her, and she's like on her phone, like texting. And then she like looks up, and then like our thing's like bloop bloop. And so like you think it's like a handler or somebody doing this. No, she's just DMing us, telling us that
just like
she wants to come hang and have a chat.
Like, listen, will always be like a little petulant. She's a little petulant. Like she definitely is on court. I think it's funny. I'm not telling you have to like it. And I'll take honesty and personality all day long. Mm-hmm. All day long. Like with the bumps, everything. So was what she replied to, was that like an auto reply? Like just thanks for following for new followers?
Yes. Yes, it was. But she's great. She's great. And great. And Techie Sean isn't the only one who thought that you hitting a ball into the clay court was real. So
that's so funny.
At least there's
Dreams
two confirmed
crushed.
people.
It's a very like online group of youngsters now, like Sean, and then even younger than him, down to Andreeva, who pretty much just
props
know
to that production team, to be honest with you, to like have pulled off the longest joke in history.
A Powerade commercial. It is interesting though, when something that kind of struck me is just how everything changes, and I realize that I'm like the old guy now, is when I'm asking about criticisms, she mentioned like, oh yeah, and then it went viral. And then I was like, the criticism, she's like, I don't know, sometimes it gets online, sometimes it doesn't. It's funny how like everything is kind of viral centric with how you kind of digest the world digesting you. I guess that's normal, but it wouldn't have been like kind of the way that I would have ever thought about it. And that's kind of, I guess that's the reality of it, right?
Yeah. And I liked how open she was with talking about how often she talks to her sports psychologist, and how it seems like that's just such a normal thing to find that balance in conversation. And for me, especially if you have a close family and, you know, she's traveling with her sister a lot and she has a close-knit group, I mean, it's probably good to get some type of perspective. But then for her to even be like, yeah, my sports psychologist was like, oh, just pretend like you're not playing your sister, just change the name. And she's like, you can't do that. Right.
No,
even to like have that.
Real.
I don't know, she just has great perspective, I feel like, for being only 19.
I just feel like she's fresh, she's interesting. You never leave an interview neutral, right? Like there's like, she's always great in interviews, and then on court she goes a little nuts, which I think is great. You know, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of hers in her game, and I didn't want to say this to her during the interview, but I think she's only scratched the surface of how good she can be. Right? I think she's stronger, faster. Like, I think it's all ahead of her. And I think her game is very complete. You know, she mentioned volleys. I think there's growth in every part of a game that's already extremely complete. I think she's legit. I think she's the real deal. I never, ever, ever, and I said this much to her, hopefully it came off the right way to her, but I never want her to kind of adjust to the noise outside of her, right? I want her to adjust to Conchita, and I want her to adjust to what makes her better and all that stuff. But I'm happy that she seems content with, I don't know, they'll say something or they won't. Like, I kind of like that, right? I like that she's not giving that too much air.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really cool. And to hear your perspective on that is I think it's important, because there's so much noise, right? There's so much noise in this current, media system. So
you can find
no
it
other choice.
if you're looking for it, for sure. Anyway, so I thought she was fantastic. I'm very thankful that she DM'd us the day after she won Roland Garros.
She's the best.
It's just a different deal. She's cool. I just think she's really cool.
Yeah, she's
Anyways,
really cool.
I think all of you are cool. Maybe not as cool as Mirra Andreeva, but who is these days. But cool nonetheless. Thank you for watching Served. Check us out on Thursday. That's our Q and Andy show every Thursday.
We have Leylah Fernandez.
Ooh, that's right. Is that this week? We filmed it.
Yep.
So sometimes we'll film stuff and then it'll happen. Oh, Leylah's cool. We had that conversation. We filmed it, a week ago or something. We're juggling schedules. Oh, cool. Definitely watch that. Leylah's awesome. That'll be out this Thursday, apparently. Thanks, producer Mike. Wolfie. I have my dream job, but even dream jobs have not so dreamy parts. That's where ServiceNow's AI specialists come in. They don't just tell you what to do about your busy work. They actually do it. That way your team can focus on what matters. To learn how to put AI to work for people, visit ServiceNow.com.